In this video, I'm going to build all of these LEGO cars and test them by having them experience all sorts of different natural disasters to see which one is the strongest. Let's get started. Let's begin with the coolest set. This ice cream truck made up of 200 pieces. It's even held up by this clown. This car includes a sliding wall which leads you to these delicious ice cream cones and popsicles. And at the top is its mascot. That looks like a popsicle. Who would have thought? This car looks great and all, but let's test it with our first natural disaster, which is a flash freeze. It's when temperatures drop suddenly and turn everything into ice. So I put the truck into the container, filled it with water, and put it into the freezer. Now we have to wait for... I took it out of the freezer and dang, this thing is looking drippy. Literally, there's water on the table. The ice also looks so clear. I guess on to the next car, which is the school bus. They came from this LEGO City school set. It's made around 150 pieces and it's your average school bus. But in the back, it actually has a wheelchair door that not much buses have. This bus is filled with a bunch of nonchalant kids and this chill bus driver. W bus driver in the chat. Little do they know what's gonna happen to them though. Anyways, for this next natural disaster, this bus is gonna have to face an asteroid. In other words, it's a massive rock in space, but in this situation, it's gonna fall on the bus. So I built the asteroid using a bunch of LEGO bricks. I guess the smile brick got on here. I'm not gonna damage my walls, so I put it on the floor. The bus and the asteroid did not pass. Maybe I just got awful aim. Bruh. There's no school now, which means it's time to play some Roblox. Now it's time for the third car to test, but instead of it being a natural disaster, we'll use this LEGO alternative tank from Real Brick to explode this blue Jeep Wrangler that looks like it's been in war before. It has a couple of fuel tanks in the back, there's this wheel up in the front that controls this hook. It also has many lights and even includes 2 custom built minifigures going to war. These are custom made and I love how they turned out. But can this car stand against a tank? Bruh. Being controlled by Yoda. I don't know what's happening at this point. This tank looks really cool and accurate to the real life Tiger tank, which looks awesome. I'm not going to get into too much detail because I'm going to be making a video about it later and everything about the set. So with that, let's have the tank take its first shot. Oh man, I want it to explode. Anyway. Well, now it's time to crank up the chaos because we're gonna simulate a full-blown blizzard. Since there's not much snow outside, I've got my trusty snow cone machine ready to go. This machine has been sitting in my closet collecting dust for a while now, so let's see if it even works. Now that we have homemade snow, let's jump into our next car, which is actually from a famous movie series, Fast and Furious. This is a black Dodge Charger and has 345 pieces, including Dominic Toretto, the main character from the movie series. I put the snow in the cup like putting the fries in the bag. So now let's see how this beast handles the snow. The snow didn't do much to the car because it's LEGO, so it's not going to go anywhere. But it sure does look really cool under all the snow. And it could actually drift through all of it. Another insane disaster that not much people come across is a landslide. If you don't know what a landslide is, it's basically where there's a sudden movement of a rock, soil, or debris that falls down a cliff. The car we'll be testing for this natural disaster is the Safari truck. What's really cool about this car is that there's a zebra design all over it, which means a lot of stickers. Anyway, I built this contraption, or just a highway right by a cliff. I tried to add a lot of detail to the cliff while using these large rock pieces. I added pieces such as grass and these small brown twigs. With everything ready, I put not just the Safari truck, but 2 red cars, a pizza truck, and another red car, just to see how much damage this thing could do. There is still one thing we're missing, which is the rocks. I got these rocks from my backyard. Don't worry, we'll visit this place again soon. I put the rocks on top of the cliff, which means natural disaster time. I use these clear LEGO pieces to move the rocks. The rocks did land on the truck, but not on all the other cars. The rocks did hit the antenna of the truck, otherwise it just made the truck dirty. At least it isn't as bad as some in real life. The next car is this Lego white Lamborghini. It has 262 pieces and tons of detail everywhere. From every angle there was something to be amazed about, like the front, side, back, and top. It's also owned by this rich dude. Let me know who he really is. Enough yapping, let's test this Lambo into the most extreme way possible, the tornado drop test. Imagine the car being whipped around the sky, tossed through the chaos until the tornado ends and the car falls to its fate. So a way to do this is to grab a bin and drop it from my deck to make it as realistic as possible. Did it survive? Well, not really. After that incident, it's time to put this Lego ambulance truck to the ultimate test by having it go through an earthquake. But not just any quake, this one simulated with a container lid moving back and forth like the real natural disaster. But before that, this ambulance has a ton of cool details that we should talk about before it gets destroyed. First, there's the back door to put the injured or sick citizen into the back to go to the hospital. Of course, the doctors do it carefully because they care for Lego City and make sure everyone's safe at all times. Anyway, let's unleash some serious damage onto this emergency vehicle. I got the container lid and moved it back and forth to simulate this disaster. But before we test this car, let's simulate this disaster on a beach house to show how much damage it could do. After the earthquake ended, it did break part of the house, mostly the sand, but now let's test it with the actual car. This time, it didn't do much to the vehicle because it kept sliding back and forth with the lid. Kind of disappointing, but the final car will experience what everyday people get into. That's why you're going to need to buckle up, folks, because it's time for the most chaotic Lego car crash ever. Man, my dog. The car we'll be using is this shiny red Ferrari. This car has 275 pieces and contains some of the best Lego building techniques that has ever been done. This is why the Lego Speed Champions theme is one of the most iconic than others. But otherwise, this car is ready to meet its fate. And it's not alone. In the other corner we've got a police car, a beach buggy, and a taxi from the Daily Bugle set, all lined up. I'll be rolling them into each other like it's a demolition derby. And trust me, things are about to get crazy. First, the police car test. Not so much damage. Next, the beach buggy. Again, not so much. There is a couple of pieces coming apart though. Lastly, the taxi. In the end, this Ferrari survived all the car crashes. It's not that realistic, but make sure you're safe driving on the roads. Now there was going to be another disaster, which was a rain shower and a flood, but I accidentally wasn't recording and it kind of destroyed the stickers. Some of the cars made it to the end and others didn't. If you enjoy this video, YouTube thinks you like these, so might as well check them out, right?